One tiny prick of blood shook the medical world. Theranos promised a medical revolution, a future where one finger prick delivered hundreds of precise diagnostic results. Elizabeth Holmes, a Stanford dropout at 19, founded the company in 2003 with this bold vision. She attracted powerful investors and prominent board members, including 2 former U.S. Secretaries of State and a retired 4-star general. Over $700 million poured into the venture. By 2014, Theranos achieved an astonishing $9 billion valuation, a testament to Holmes's compelling narrative and impressive marketing prowess. The company's flagship was the Edison machine, a claimed breakthrough device performing over 200 blood tests using minuscule samples. Promotional materials showed patients getting quick, affordable tests at many Walgreens and Safeway wellness centers. This promised disruption, aimed at a $500 billion diagnostics market, generated immense excitement and significant investment. Investors like Rupert Murdoch and the DeVos family committed substantial funds, believing in the revolutionary technology and its potential to transform healthcare for all citizens. However, reality starkly diverged from public image. The Edison devices were largely non-functional, producing unreliable, highly inaccurate patient data. Instead of its proprietary technology, Theranos secretly used modified conventional blood testing machines for many tests. This profound deception was concealed from federal regulators, investors, and patient groups needing accurate diagnoses. Employees, including whistleblowers Tyler Schultz and Erica Chung, expressed serious concerns about fraudulent practices and significant patient safety issues. These courageous individuals risked careers and reputations to reveal the truth. Journalist John Carreyrou from the Wall Street Journal initiated an extensive investigation in 2015, uncovering deep operational flaws. His persistent reporting, detailed technological failures, misleading claims, and intense staff pressure to maintain secrecy. Regulatory bodies like the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, identified severe deficiencies at Theranos Labs in 2016. The Food and Drug Administration also raised strong alarms regarding unapproved blood testing devices in widespread commercial use throughout the nation. The inevitable reckoning arrived. Federal investigations began when the Securities and Exchange Commission charged Elizabeth Holmes and former President Sunny Balwani with massive investor fraud. Theranos ceased operations in 2018, a spectacular collapse from its peak valuation. Both Holmes and Balwani faced criminal trials, found guilty of defrauding investors. Elizabeth Holmes received an 11-year and 3-month federal prison sentence. Sunny Balwani, a 13-year sentence. The Theranos story warns about unchecked ambition and corporate deception, impacting thousands of patients with faulty medical information and countless investors losing billions of dollars. This saga highlights critical need for rigorous scientific validation beyond charismatic storytelling and mere promises. It was a monumental failure, costing many their health, their trust, their hard-earned money. A lesson for Silicon Valley for decades. Billions vanished on a few drops of blood. Theranos built its empire on a brand lie, a medical deception that shook Silicon Valley to its very core. The company's promised breakthrough device, the Edison machine, was largely non-functional, a colossal failure in technology. Instead of performing over 200 blood tests with minuscule samples as claimed, the Edison units produced unreliable and highly inaccurate patient data. This profound failure meant that Theranos secretly relied on modified conventional blood testing machines for many of its diagnostic processes. This critical deception was meticulously concealed from federal regulators, from eager investors, and crucially, from the thousands of patient groups who needed accurate diagnoses for their health. Employees began to see the widespread fraud and significant patient safety issues arising daily. Whistleblowers like Tyler Schultz and Erica Chung bravely stepped forward, risking their careers and reputations to expose the truth about these fraudulent practices. Their courageous actions eventually drew the attention of journalist John Carreyrou from the Wall Street Journal. His extensive investigation, starting in 2015, meticulously uncovered deep operational flaws. Carreyrou's persistent reporting detailed technological failures, misleading claims, and the intense staff pressure used to maintain absolute secrecy within the company's walls. Regulatory bodies soon took swift action. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, identified severe deficiencies at Theranos laboratories in 2016, a stark warning sign. Simultaneously, the Food and Drug Administration also raised strong alarms regarding the widespread commercial use of unapproved blood testing devices across the nation. The inevitable reckoning arrived with full force. Federal investigations commenced. The Securities and Exchange Commission charged both Elizabeth Holmes, the company's founder, and former president Sunny Balwani with massive investor fraud. Theranos finally ceased all operations in 2018, marking a spectacular collapse from its peak $9 billion valuation. Both Holmes and Balwani faced criminal trials. Elizabeth Holmes was found guilty of defrauding investors and subsequently received an 11-year and 3-month federal prison sentence. Sunny Balwani, also convicted, received an even longer 13-year sentence for his part in the scheme. The Theranos story serves as a profound warning about unchecked ambition and the dangers of corporate deception. It gravely impacted thousands of patients who received faulty medical information and caused countless investors to lose billions of dollars in their hard-earned money. This saga underscores the critical need for rigorous scientific validation far beyond charismatic storytelling or mere unfulfilled promises. It was a monumental failure, costing many their health, their trust, their money, a lesson for Silicon Valley for decades to come. 11 years of freedom vanished for a fraudulent dream. Theranos, the blood testing startup, faced its final devastating fall. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, had already identified severe widespread deficiencies at Theranos laboratories in 2016. A stark warning for all observers. Simultaneously, the Food and Drug Administration also raised strong and vocal alarms regarding the widespread commercial use of unapproved blood testing devices across the entire nation. Federal investigations soon commenced with urgency. The Securities and Exchange Commission charged both Elizabeth Holmes, the company's founder, and former president Sunny Balwani with massive and intricate investor fraud. This colossal deception had promised over 200 distinct blood tests from just a very few drops, but instead delivered unreliable and highly inaccurate patient data, often from modified conventional machines used in total secret. Theranos eventually ceased all operations in 2018, marking a spectacular collapse from its peak $9 billion valuation just a few years prior. Both Holmes and Balwani faced criminal trials which became widely publicized. Elizabeth Holmes was ultimately found guilty of defrauding investors on multiple counts and but subsequently received an 11-year and 3-month federal prison sentence for her extensive leading role in the scheme. Sunny Balwani, her former partner, also convicted, received an even longer 13-year sentence for his direct part in the widespread fraud. This entire Theranos story serves as a profound and urgent warning about unchecked ambition and the serious dangers of corporate deception that plagued the medical technology sector. It gravely impacted thousands of patients who received faulty medical information, which could have led to severe misdiagnoses or dangerously delayed treatments. Countless investors lost billions of dollars in their hard-earned money, forever altering their financial futures, causing major financial setbacks. This saga underscores the critical need for rigorous scientific validation, far beyond charismatic storytelling or mere unfulfilled promises presented to the public. It was a monumental failure, costing many their health, their trust, their money, a harsh and indelible lesson for Silicon Valley and the broader business world for decades to come. The initial vision of transformative healthcare quickly dissolved into a nightmare of legal battles and personal ruin for those at the top. The company's promises of revolutionizing diagnostics proved to be nothing more than an elaborate house of cards built on lies from day one. Thousands of test results given to real people were completely inaccurate. The Edison device never truly functioned as advertised, leading to a massive cover-up of its technological failures for years on end. Whistleblowers like Tyler Schultz and Erica Chung bravely stepped forward, risking everything to expose the company's fraudulent practices, despite immense pressure and threats from within the corporate structure. Their courageous actions and persistent efforts led directly to the eventual unmasking of the systemic deceit. John Carreyrou's extensive investigation from the Wall Street Journal, starting in 2015, meticulously uncovered these deep operational flaws and misleading claims. His persistent reporting detailed intense staff pressure used to maintain absolute secrecy within the company's walls, confirming the widespread nature of the fraud. This entire ordeal highlighted the severe consequences of prioritizing commercial gain over patient safety and ethical conduct in a critical healthcare sector. The legal proceedings brought to light the intricate web of deceit that characterized the company's operations from its inception to its final days.